Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good night, and welcome to Jazzy Conversations. I'm Teef.
And I'm Gigi.
And we're excited to be here.
Listen, thanks for checking in.
Welcome to Jazzy Conversations. I'm Teef.
And I'm Gigi.
And we're back for another episode. G.
Yes.
It's
Happy
the
New
New
Year. Look at me. We got to get that right.
It's the new year. And
It
check it out.
is.
Listen, so what did you do? What did you do for New Year?
Listen, I always, you know these things.
Oh, here we go.
I was at church.
She was
That's
at
what we
church.
do. We bring in the new year every
Absolutely.
year in service and in prayer. Yes.
Absolutely. And here's the unique thing. So was I.
Hey.
Yes, we brought
Yeah.
in New Year at church. So
Yes.
believe it or not, we do go to New Year's for church. So,
Mm-hmm.
or we go to church for New Year's. I said that right? I said
Yes,
that right.
you got it right. You got it right. Yeah,
Every time I
year.
call G, listen, we got to do this, or we got offered to do this and that. Teef, I got to go to church
That's-
first.
you know
but
that.
then we could do X, Y, and Z.
That's right,
So
which is exactly right. Like right after that. So we had a really good time. I mean, there's so much promise in the new year, right? So I'm just excited. A lot's gonna come of this 2023.
Oh, absolutely.
It's
2023 is
amazing.
going to be a great year.
Yeah.
Listen,
yeah.
with that being said, we have an amazing show for you guys today. Listen, Jazzy Conversations. I'm Teef.
I'm Gigi.
But before we move forward, please, this is very important. Please hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. If you like it, give us the thumbs up. Help us grow our platform. You can reach us at teefgg@gmail.com, teefgg@gmail.com. If you would like to be a guest, or if you would like to put a little spotlight on the on your business, small business or something, please email us. We could shout you out. And also, again, if you want to be a guest, please reach out to us. But hit that subscribe button, help us grow, okay?
That's right. And tell your friends to check in on us, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah, if you like what you're seeing, spread the word with us.
That's my girl.
That's right.
With that being said, Jazzy Conversations, we're moving forward. Listen, we got an amazing show for you guys today.
Yes.
Listen, Shorey Walker, Manhattan, New York. I hope you guys ready. You ready? Here we go. That's my girl, ladies and gentlemen, Shorey Walker. Welcome to the show.
Oh my
Hey,
goodness.
Hello. I'm so excited and honored that you called.
Welcome to Jazzy Conversations. I'm Teef, as you know.
And I'm Gigi. It's a pleasure to meet you, Shorey.
Shorey.
Pleasure to meet you as well. Honored and thrilled to be part of this amazing podcast.
Oh my goodness.
Wonderful.
Listen, my partner Gigi, I told her already,
Yes.
you and her have so much in common.
Including our last names.
Yes.
I am a
Right?
Walker. By marriage, yes, but I claim it with pride. So
Love it.
I love it. I love it. And like you
Yes.
said, businesswoman, for real.
Yes,
So
yes.
just
For real,
like
for
yourself.
real.
Listen, welcome to the show. I want
Thank
to
you.
we want to go through the process, and I want to tell people the story of how we met so they can understand who you are. Very, very important person.
Mm-hmm,
So when I started acting, my very first time going to New York. So when you start out locally in Connecticut, this is worldwide. So in Connecticut, to go to that next step, you have to hit Manhattan and you have to hit the New York scene.
Mm-hmm.
And ladies and gentlemen, whoever's watching this worldwide, this was the person. Because remember, Renee Lawless and I spoke about Shorey Walker.
That's right. You talked about the
So,
acting classes together.
Correct. At the time, Shorey Walker was working for the most prestigious. It's a place called, if you don't mind if I say it,
Oh, yeah, sure.
the Actors Connection
I
in
see.
Manhattan, New York.
I see.
And she knows everybody. She's met everyone through the acting scene. So when I made the phone call and I said, listen, I'm ready to take that jump to the next step, and I was told to contact you, et cetera, et cetera. And she said, well, this is what we have going on this weekend. I'm not sure if you're ready for this. You remember that conversation? I'm not sure if you're ready for this 3-day event. It was a 3-day event where you meet the best casting directors, so many different agents, managers. It's you want to? I'll let you talk about it. I'll let you.
I'm hoping that you will, because I know a lot of people don't even know what that role is. So even as you talk about how you and Teef met back
that's 10 years
some
ago.
time ago,
In the
right?
day.
Explain to the people, to the listeners, what exactly it is that you do in your role.
Terrific. Yeah. So there's two things that I am. I'm a program coordinator or a producer of events, and I'm also an actor business coach. So when I'm having the events, one of the pieces of the puzzle is to ensure that the actors have their marketing material ducks in a row, that they have all of their tools in their toolbox that they're going to need to be able to build an acting business, because it is a business and you are the CEO of your company.
Absolutely.
And I help you make sure that your tools are industry standard. As part of the actor business coach, as part of the program coordinator, what I'm doing is I'm reaching out, I'm listening to the actors ahead of time. We're talking on the phone or we're speaking via Zoom. And I'm listening. What are the shows that are your targets? What are the Broadway shows or television shows, or are there specific commercial types that you can see yourself in? And I listen to the actors that are part of the event, and then I cater the event based on their target demographic of what they're looking to make sure, because it's all about connections, right? It's not who you know, but who knows you. And so these events are built so that actors can make an impact and make a connection, quite literally, with casting directors, talent agents, and personal managers, and potentially showrunners, potentially resident directors, depending on what kind of program we're building, so that those who are at the sort of finger on the pulse of what's happening can get to know these actors and say, oh gosh, now I can call on you if I need X.
Right.
Absolutely.
Let me ask. I'm so intrigued. You all have had the benefit of 10 years of knowing each other. Quick question.
Yeah, sure.
What would someone have to do to be able to engage with you? Like somebody doesn't wake up one day, decide they want to act and call Shorey Walker, right?
Oh, well, they do it all the time. you and I both know that people decide that one day they're going to say, you know what? I could be an actor. That looks so easy. I can do that. Yeah. And as Steve and I will tell you, you still need to have some training. You still need to make sure that you have a baseline for technique. It doesn't necessarily need to be 4 years of college as an acting degree, but it could be 4 weeks. It could be 4 months. I just want to make sure that those people who are waking up and wanting to get into the acting arena in some capacity have an understanding of how important training is. And that will be the first question that a lot of casting directors would ask is like, who are you training with? Where is the baseline of your training? You're studying Meisner, or are you studying a specific type of technique? So just knowing the techniques of acting is crucial. But you were letting me give a little marketing plug for myself, and I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
My website is shoreywalker.com, and my name is spelled Shorey Walker, like the seashore with a Y at the end.
That's
right. And I'm an
Walker.
actor business coach, and I do coach in groups. Honestly, Gigi, my active client are college professors. So I speak pretty much, I would say, well, I have over 50 universities that I work with. So I would say I speak on Zoom to groups of college kids that are graduating with BAs in acting or MFAs. So like University of, and UNLV is a client, and their master's program, I'm helping their program. University of Connecticut is actually a client.
Both their masters. Very good.
Yeah. So I go to speak at stores. Like I'll speak in stores, Connecticut, at the BFAs and the MFAs for like 3.5 hours, helping them make sure that their marketing materials are industry standard. But since the pandemic, Zoom is such a popular way to educate. So I teach on Zoom a lot, but I also do one-on-one coaching, Gigi. So like if you, and I work hard. So if someone has their headshot, their resume, their website, their demo reels, their clips of their work that they have, I help them sort of make sure that all of those tools are what their target demographic is looking for. So I do a lot of one-on-one coaching as well as group coaching. I do both.
And that was one of the first things you said. You said, Teef, do you have a headshot? You need to get one. So listen, before we move forward, I want to take people through the process. Very important story. Like I said, you and Gigi, oh my goodness, you guys, the way you guys think, your business is like boom, boom, boom.
All right.
I'm just the fun guy. Gigi she's so brainy and so.
I'd like to say I'm also fun. But
of course, you're fun, but you're brainy.
Yes, right?
I know so both of you guys.
We have that in common also. Yes, I like fun, Shorey.
Thank you, ma'am.
But Shorey, I want to take people watching this from the beginning. So let's back up just a little bit. Tell people where you're from. Tell them your background. Tell them your background, where you're from originally.
I grew up in the Boston area, so suburban Boston.
Okay.
I moved to New York in 1992.
There you
So
go.
at what point does someone get to call themselves a New Yorker? Is 30 years enough? Like, I don't
Yeah, I
know.
think
think
you are.
so.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been here since 92 pursuing. I first moved to do musical theater. So that's the main, Broadway was
Okay.
my calling. So I did that for a number of years, and then film, TV, started sort of branching into that as a performer. So I am a coach, but that's because we're paying it forward, right? When you get to be over 50, you want to make sure that you're paying it forward, that you're helping those that you knew. I love being able to give back to a 25-year-old now that I'm 52. Right.
There's
So
wisdom,
anyway,
right,
I'm
that
from
comes with that.
Boston. I'm definitely a New Englander, but moved to New York right out of college.
Okay. Now, you were at the Actors Connection. So, Gigi, I told her a little about the Actors Connection. That's
Yep.
the spot, G. The transition. Tell us about when you were there, and then we're going to do the transition into where you are now, because a lot of people that's watching this from Ohio, Wisconsin, et cetera,
I know,
they
I'm
need
so
to know.
excited.
They want to know these questions.
Also, my clients, by the way, I'm in Ohio all the time. I just got back from Detroit, Michigan.
I love it.
I
Love
fly
it.
all over the country to talk to professional actors about building their business. Anyway, yeah, so my clients are mostly colleges, and I found that a lot of them were Broadway bound. A lot of BFA musical theater programs are growing throughout the country, and those were my base clients. And so I moved my client roster over to the Growing Studio because of that. So
Okay.
I was at the Actors Connection. Now I'm at the Growing Studio. They're very similar networking and educational studios for professional actors. They both have .coms, actorsconnection.com and thegrowingstudio.com. Both of them are networking and educational studios for professional actors looking to sort of understand and make connections with people in the industry. So you could, let's say you've been doing theater, but you want to make sure that you're booking more on-camera appointments. They have on-camera audition technique classes. Or if you want to be in Hamilton on Broadway, you can do a 3-day workshop with the resident director, the choreographer, and the musical director of Hamilton.
Right.
Those people who are like actively in the casting process, not just the casting director, but the choreographer. And you can do workshops with what we call the creative staff and the creative team as part of what's happening at the Growing Studio.
Right.
Wow. Beautiful. Beautiful.
So it really is that. It's the connections and it's the growing, right? It literally
It really
is
is.
what you've named those businesses, right?
Correct, because you're getting better, maybe a commercial audition technique. Maybe you hadn't had any of that training, but your agent's getting you more of those appointments. You're like, maybe I should take a class in that since I keep getting the appointments, but I'm not booking the job.
Yeah.
So there's ways to go back and be like, okay, what do I need to know? Or I keep auditioning for these shows and I'm just not getting the appointments, and it's because they don't know me.
Right.
So why don't I build a personal relationship in a classroom setting, and then you build the trust.
Right.
And you know what she just said right there? She's not lying. That's exactly what you taught our class. Exactly.
And
Relationships.
that's what happened, right?
Build the trust.
Right, T?
100%. I
And
remember.
that's the same in everything. Relationships, that's what matters. But I love what you said,
Right.
which I think people need to hear that again. It's not just who you know.
Yep.
It's who knows you in this business. So
Oh,
that's
Gigi.
I heard her say it. I heard it right here.
I
It's in the
love
lockbox.
I got lots of those. I teach for a living, so like,
So what's the
I got lots of
challenge?
those little anecdotes that'll stick with
I'm
you.
sorry, Shorey. So what's the challenge? Was it a challenge from going from Actors Connection to the Growing Studio? Did you face any challenges?
No, I mean, I think the challenge is knowing your target demographic and knowing how you're going to make sure that those people are happy.
Okay. Okay. Okay, good. And what advice would you give a young person getting into the business, like
Right.
the business side? That's you and G. Like, what would you tell a person?
Well, I think, this is important because we're talking to actors who are growing their businesses or are starting fresh. And I think getting to learn from those who have been doing it, like myself, is incredibly important, but so is the technique. It's called show business, which means it's two-part. It's learning how to act and having a baseline for that in terms of a technique and not just the experience, but the training. So making sure that you're solid with the training, and then getting out there and getting the experience, making sure that you're keeping your finger on the pulse of what's happening in the market that you're interested in moving to or building a career in. If you don't understand who the players are in your industry, in your arena, and more importantly, they don't know who you are, it's going to be a tough battle. So the savviness is what makes actors succeed. The paying attention, it's a difficult balance, as you know, to be able to balance between your artistic and making sure your voice is okay and that you like warm up every day and you take dance class, or that you just like make sure that your acting chops are solid and you've practiced your lines 100 times so that you're ready. And then there's also paying attention, reading playbill. There's something called broadwaybriefing.com. And I teach that. It's really easy. It's a website. You go to broadwaybriefing.com and you put in your name and your email, and you get an email in your inbox every single morning that talks about what's currently happening on Broadway and
Industry
what's currently
standards,
happening
right?
with
Industry standards, right? Like knowing
yeah,
the
like
industry
you
you're
get to
in.
know the industry. Exactly. You get to know industry standards. So just educating yourself. So training and education.
So let me follow that up, because Teef, like he's a champion for the young people. What about somebody older that, you know, this has been a passion and they've just sort of been nurturing it inwardly? What do they do? And what would you say to somebody that's a little bit more
Absolutely.
seasoned that wants to get into acting?
Absolutely. I think that makes total sense. I see it all the time. And that's what happened with Chief. We met, there was potentially in your class, I think a retired cop, a retired teacher, you know, someone who was ready for a second career.
Yeah.
They got their tenure and then they got their retirement package and they were like, well, now what? So I see that a lot actually, because they have this sort of groundedness and understanding of entrepreneurship, which is acting, but they just didn't necessarily have the techniques yet. So I think getting your, can I swear?
Speak.
Getting your ass in class.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Getting your ass in class is what I say. Get in there and before you start submitting yourself, even before the headshot, you got to take a class to make sure you're good at it, to make sure you don't have these like funny faces that you keep making that you didn't know that you did on camera. Right. Get your ass in class so that you have an understanding of what your brand is and how you're going to make money. And then meeting with an acting coach that's for business side of the business would be the next step. So making sure that you have your technique solid, and then potentially meeting someone like an actor business coach that helps you go. Because as you can imagine, Gigi, I have a whole Rolodex of headshot photographers, voiceover, demo reel creators, resume builders. I can sort of help you build your resume. I know how to structure that. So knowing, because as you can imagine, a business resume is much different than an acting resume.
That's right.
We don't structure it the same. Yeah. I'm sure people have heard, but we don't. We just structure it completely different than what you would find on LinkedIn.
Right.
It's different.
I mean, what you're sharing, like, this is such an incredible education, even right here, because I don't think many people have considered themselves as actors, as entrepreneurs, right? But what you're saying here is like, no, you are your own business. And I think that needs to be heralded, because there are a lot, I mean, New Haven is an artsy town. Not that these are our only listeners, but if there are people out there, they often draw the line between arts and business, and never the two shall meet. And so what you're saying is like, no, these two are partnered, and you need to know how to do that.
Absolutely.
What an education.
And when I teach, Gigi, I quantify everything. So like I would say, think of your headshot and your resume as your trifold flyer. Think of your backstage or your actor's access profile as your brick and mortar rent. Because then you can justify the expenses.
Yes.
Really. You know, and there's a budget that you need to put together, because you have to spend money to make money, like any business. And if no one knows who you are, if you don't have your profiles in the right place, you're not going to get acting work from LinkedIn. But like, you're just not like, and if you need to know what the LinkedIn or the monster.com of acting is, it's as long as you start to know some of those avenues of how you're going to actually get work, it's easier to also then secure representation, which is what we consider talent agents and personal managers, who also are part of your team. But there's sort of things, line items that you need to have in place to be able to build your business.
You know, I'm sitting here and I'm smiling inside. I can't stop smiling. And I'm glad Gigi's asking you questions, because just seeing you, you know, our relationship is just, I was so raw. And you took a shot. You took a shot. You said, come down to New York. I'm not sure if this is the one for you, Teef. Because it's basically the questions you're asking. I know you do.
Well, this is like start small.
Yes, but
start small. Come to a 3-day weekend. Meet some people. See how, because just so you know, Gigi, as part of the classes and everything I do here, usually when you come into New York, I have a camera running. So they get to see, and then you get sent the clips of your work. So you get to see yourself on camera and be like, okay.
And memorizing lines was everything. Like memorizing lines, a lot of people forget that you're not holding any papers. And remember, I had Brett. Remember Brett, casting director Brett?
Of course, Brett Goldstein.
Brett Goldstein. That was my. And we had so many. I mean, listen. Within 3 days, let me just so she can understand. I'm traveling from New Haven. Had to be down there by 7 in the morning every day. We were there for about 7 to
Well, it started at 10.
started at
Every day
10, so
starts
I
at
had to
10.
leave.
10 to 9, because
Right,
it's
get
10 to
down
1,
there.
2 to
yeah,
5, 6 to
right,
9.
right.
Yep.
10 to 9. You're here all day, turn right back around, go the next day, turn right back all the way to Manhattan, and it's grueling. It was grueling. And you're meeting casting directors,
Yeah,
you're meeting agents, you're meeting managers. You need and you want representation.
That's right.
And so you have to
Right.
bring your
Well, a
A
lot of
game.
people assume that they're ready for representation, and then it becomes clear what they're still missing
Oh,
from their list of things that are needed to be able to secure representation.
a full year. So for me, it took me a year. From that class, I started with you, which is, it took a year to get representation. Someone say, okay, yes, I'll represent you. And
Yeah.
people that's watching this know how hard representation is, because you're basically
Correct.
that person's putting their brand on
Right,
you.
right.
Like,
They stood in
listen,
the stake and saying we vouch for you.
absolutely, we're going to be sending
Yeah.
you out to these places that you would never be
Right.
able to know how to get into,
Right.
for the audition. So
Well, again, it's 2022, about to be 2023. And just so that we're clear, a lot of actors can submit themselves for appointments, can submit themselves for projects. It's easily done. Just someone needs to show you the websites and show you the tools that need to be in place. And sort of like make sure you don't do some red flags on the way there. So it's easy to build your own business.
Is that you,
Agents and
Shorey? Is that
managers-
what you do? Would you say that's what you do? You're the person that sort of lets you know, like, don't do this, do that.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I literally teach a class called The Business of Show Business, Marketing Tools for Actors. And I start with college kids that we only have 8 things that we need to get in a row, because we only count to 8, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we only need 8 things. It's not a 12-step program. So this is 8 things you need to make sure that you have in place. And I talk about what those are when I'm meeting with college kids. But where I was going with this is that once you actually feel that you've submitted yourself and you've booked a couple of things on your own, then it's time to bring somebody else onto your team. So it took him a year, not because he sat around and twiddled his thumbs, but because he was out there hustling. He was out there hustling for himself for a whole year, to the point where someone else was like, I believe in you. You're a hustler. Let's hustle together. And I can get you information on appointments that you can't get as an actor. So just so you know, Gigi, there are something called the breakdowns, right? The list of jobs that are out there. And actors have access to certain types of jobs, and then talent agents and personal managers have a different
layer.
set of, right.
absolutely.
So we don't ever see, as actors, the list of the bit parts, which are called co-stars, on Law and Order. We don't see it. We don't. We can see bit parts, or what we call a supporting role, and like an indie feature that Brett Goldstein maybe would have cast. She gives actors access to those roles that are a couple of $100 for a day player. But for the co-stars Law and Order, that's when you got to have representation, because there's sort of that gatekeeper to make sure that this actor ain't cray, that this actor has all the right marketing tools and will show up on set and do his job and have his lines memorized. So there's a gate, the gatekeeper is the agent, to make sure that these actors are professional and worthy of, and trustful. Is that a word?
That's
They
right.
can be trusted on set.
Big shout out to Brett Goldstein. If you're watching this, Brett, oh my goodness, that was my
That's her.
girl.
She's in
Big
Florida.
shout out.
So let me ask, because Teef, you shared that it took you a year, and you said you really got out there and you were grinding for yourself. What is the normal trajectory for someone once they've come out, they've booked a few things? I see you shaking your head, so it ranges,
I just
doesn't
like
it?
no one love. There's no normal.
There's no
right?
normal.
Yeah, there's not like, this is how. That's what's kind of fun about an acting career, is that there isn't a route to it. I
Yeah.
find that, as a doctor or a marketing person, there's like lawyer, there's sort of like, this is how it works. And we just don't have that as actors. Each actor's journey is so different. And each actor's success is so different. Like, I feel like he has had success. He has representation. He has a few co-stars under his belt. Like, that's how do you define success?
I appreciate
I say
that.
in our business, you really define it for yourself. There's no right or wrong way to make sure that you get you. There's plenty of people, Gigi, that have booked a Broadway show without an agent.
Right. Look at
Plenty.
that.
Yeah,
I would
of
imagine,
course.
like, Shorey, that's super encouraging for aspiring actors, because you can't say, well, I haven't made it by this point, that so-and-so got to this point. It's
Not that.
individual, right? It's not that. There's not a formula. You just have to get out there and try. Good.
Yeah, and I feel as if am successful. I'm not a household name, but I had a point where I was like, and there has to have, it's yourself, right? Like as an actor, you can be like, this is my idea of success.
Yes.
Where I am right now, I can't imagine being anywhere else. And this was a goal that I had set myself for myself, and I'm here. And being able to have that, because, honestly, mindset is the greatest predictor of success. So like if you have a mindset that it was like, this is what I'm going to, when I'm successful, it's going to look like this.
Right.
Absolutely.
And then you can modify that depending on
That's
where you
right.
ended up being. But that I feel as if I've made a successful life. Too many of the people that I've coached have gone on to have the success.
That's right.
Sure,
So
but
that's my idea of success at this point.
and
So I understood that you just said, what is the normal trajectory for an actor? And there isn't one.
There is no normal.
No, not
and so
really.
in my world, I'm looking at you because that was a great question, G. Great. Everyone knows. How could I say this? Because I know the world is watching. Everyone knows who she is in that world. That's what I'm saying. If you enter Actors Connection, which is like I'm trying to explain what would Actor Connection be back then. It's I don't know how to explain, but everyone knows who
It's the
Shorey.
it's the
Shorey
place
Walker.
to go,
It's
and
the
she was the
place
person
go.
to
And
see.
she was the person. You
Yes.
had to
Correct.
meet Shorey Walker if you went
Well,
there.
I also have gotten to know, because again, I've been here since 1992. So I've gotten to know all casting directors, all talent agents,
Yes.
all personal managers. I work with so many of them helping to build these events. And so as a result, I get to know them on a personal level too. So I find that I love being a matchmaker for actor and agent,
Yeah.
knowing that these two people will get along, or casting director and actor. I think you'll really love his talent or their talent. So that's been fun for me, is being able to get to know a lot of the top casting directors, talent agents, personal managers, and artistic staff from our business, to be able to match it up with really great talent.
Wow.
Shorey, quick question for you. It's a little game G and I play.
Yes.
It's a little game.
Oh God.
Okay. You work with all these different actors over your lifetime. Elementary, middle school, high school, college years now. Give me your 3 absolute favorite movies of all time. Shorey Walker's 3 favorite movies.
Okay. So I kind of knew you were going to ask. So I asked myself.
Good. It's better to be prepared.
I like to be prepared.
Okay. You've been watching the
And
show.
yeah, but like, I brought my family into it, and I was like, I have to name favorite movies. Does anyone want to help me with that? And the newest Spider-Man movie was like hands down. It's called Spider-Man No Way Home, that one.
Yes. That's a good
My
one.
son saw it 5 times in the theater. I saw it at least 3.
Wow.
I love all of those Marvel movies, and I love how that sort of culminated with all of the Spider-Mans together. And when you have children, especially boys, Spider-Man is your life for like 5 to 6 years of your life. And so, if not more. So I'm going to give a little shout out to Spider-Man, just because that's what my kids told me to say. The second one I'm going to say is I literally just maybe only a few weeks ago finally watched the newest West Side Story.
Oh.
And again, I'm a Broadway person. I'm a musical theater person.
That's
I've been
right.
in West Side Story 3 times
Wow.
before. Yeah, I've done it a lot. I've done that show a number of times. So I know every word, I know every lyric. But this newest West Side Story, if you've ever loved West Side Story, you have to go see it, because it makes
It's
so
amazing.
much. Have you seen it?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, it just
The new
made
one.
so much sense. Also, as like a New Yorker, and the fact that I knew that West Side Story took place near Lincoln Center, but I didn't know really what that meant. What it meant was we literally tore down an entire neighborhood to build Lincoln Center. But like, duh, like we knew that a lot. We knew all that because of like Robert Moses and everything he's done in New York, and all of the, reconstruction that he's built. But like, it just made so much sense, and to see it and to be able to show it, because I have taken my son to the Met. I'm proud to say.
Okay.
Had him sit through at least 2 operas at the Met. So the fact that we've gone to the Met and seen that sort of Lincoln Center area, and then watched the growth of it through the eyes of a musical was so fun to me, because I knew that was the case, but it made it so much more clear in this particular musical. And then the last one that I was going to give a shout out to is really random. One of my best friends from camp, she was Annie. In the Broadway show. Actually, she was Pepper. I don't want to lie. She was Pepper in Annie. And she was my roommate at Stage Door Manor Performing Arts Training Center when I was 11. And that was really my crossover into becoming an actor, is understanding that you could have it as a career and make money doing it. So that was a huge crossover for me. And she grew up to be making a movie called Life After Tomorrow.
Oh,
Her name's Julie Stevens. She's amazing. She lives in LA, and she made a movie about what it was like after being a kid star.
Wow.
And so there's a lot of people out there that are like, whatever happened to the kid star? They love the whatever happened when, right? Sarah Jessica Parker is even in this movie because she was an orphan and Annie on Broadway when she was like
that's
9.
beautiful.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So it's one of my favorite movies. I recently showed it to my kids, so I was thinking of it because I was such a big fan of Annie when I was a kid, and now one of my best friends has written a movie about becoming an adult actor.
So shout her out again. Her first and last name in the
Her
movie.
name is Julie Stevens.
Okay, and the name of the movie?
Life After Tomorrow.
Life After
Beautiful,
Tomorrow.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and one of Julie Stevens's jobs, just so you know, is she's a business. She teaches parents who want to have kids that are in the business how to get their kids started in the business.
Oh, so it was positive
Gosh,
for her then. This isn't a tragic tale. She loved being
No.
a child actor. That's good.
I love that you just said that. It's not a tragedy, is it? No. She doesn't die at the end. No.
So, Shorey, you talked even in your answers about your favorite movies. It is clear that you are an artist at heart. Like it is pouring through your veins. You're talking about the Met. How did you become interested in acting?
So I love to tell the story. My parents love to tell the story of how I was at my house reading over the shoulder of my father. The Boston Globe had an ad for something called Stage Door Manor Performing Arts Training Center, which is a theater camp in upstate New York in the Catskills. And we used to love to go to the Catskills. So I convinced my parents to let me go to the sleepaway camp when I was like 10, maybe 11. And that's when I realized that you could become a professional actor. And then my mom is also she's a music teacher. She's an elementary school music teacher. And then she was the artistic director and director choreographer for a children's theater. It's called Merrimack Children's Theater, MJT, and Merrimack Junior Theater, sorry. And she was the artistic director for that for over 30 years. So
Wow.
every fall and every summer, spring, we did a show. And so by the time I graduated high school, I'd probably already been in 25 musicals.
Wow. Wow.
So it is in your
It
veins.
was mostly
Yeah.
theater that I was interested in. And then once you move to New York and you have to be able to make money acting, that's when I started doing commercials, voiceover, TV, film.
Sure, we're going to bring this to conclusion. But before we bring this to conclusion, we have 3 more questions for you.
I'm ready.
What are your top 3 podcasts?
Hello.
All right.
This is a phenomenal podcast. It's such an honor to be part of it, Gigi. And
Yes.
thank you so much for thinking of me.
Oh,
Yes.
of course.
And then I'm a Broadway person, right? So Ensemblist, the Ensemblist, again, started by another friend of mine. So I would definitely say the Ensemblist. And then I read a book on tape or listened to a book on tape called Stay Sexy and Don't Get Murdered. And then I realized that they had a podcast. So I have been now since listening to that podcast. And that is called My Favorite Murderer. Because I'm kind of caught up in true crime reality shows because I've been in 5. I don't know, have you done an investigation discovery show yet?
Yes, I have.
Okay,
Yes,
I've done
yes,
5.
yes, I
I've
have.
been killed 5 times.
I've done 2.
So yes, I'm kind of, an investigation discovery ID show.
Mine was Tamron Hall.
Yeah.
So I did
How
Tamron
did you die?
Hall.
Did you die or were you the?
I died in one, and I was the thug in another one. So yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, we got to
Yeah.
stack
Yeah.
those
And I'm like
accolades.
that every
IMDb,
Bias, where I got, like,
IMDb.
beheaded,
Check your
died,
IMDb
survived.
page.
So I think I got shot in the back, stabbed, drowned. I drowned in the Hudson. That was fun. Like literally had to be thrown into the Hudson like 7 times.
So
Oh,
for
my
anyone tuning in late, we're talking about acting accolades. So
I know, right? Hold on, because I'm still here. Yeah.
So Shorey, listen, on behalf of Gigi and I,
Yes.
my partner,
Oh my goodness.
thank you so much. This meant a lot to me. Let me just tell everyone. So when I made
get a little
when I
fist
made
bump?
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Oh, virtual.
when I made the phone call for Shorey, we haven't spoken in some time, G.
Yeah.
And
But
I
I'm
gave her,
still here.
and you're still here.
I'm still doing it.
And I said to her, I said, "Hi, Shorey, this is Teef. Do you remember me?" She was, Of course.
He's quite memorable, though, isn't he?
Correct.
And it felt
Those
so
eyes.
it felt so great because she was like, and I said, listen, we're starting a new podcast. My partner and I mean, we have no base at all, but I'm reaching out to connections. Would you like to be in a podcast? Her exact response was just like Renee's. Of course.
Yeah.
She said, send me the Zoom immediately. And so I wanted to say thank you for
We
that.
are grateful. Thank you so much for taking time and giving folks quite the education on how to get the ball rolling and be a business as an actor, right?
And I told you, you and her need to stay in contact because you guys got a lot in common. All right. Shorey Walker, thank you so much for coming on Jazzy Conversations. I'm Teef.
And I'm Gigi.
Thank you. Take care, Shorey. Oh, she was amazing,
She's
G.
awesome.
She's you. I mean, personality, seriously, businesswoman personality. I know you guys are going to hit it off. As soon as we leave set, I'm going to give you her number. I know you guys are going to hit it off.
Yeah.
Her personality from jump was like, I would love to bring you on. I believe in you. Do you believe in yourself? Everything she said up here was 100% fact.
Wow.
Because basically she was like, to be honest, she's going to laugh at this one, sink or swim. You want to come down to Manhattan? Anybody's watching? You want to come to Manhattan,
This is where the
New
big
York?
boys play, and
Yes.
this is what you need to do.
You're going to meet
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
Her exact words, I should have said to her when she was there. If you come down here from day one, you're branding yourself. That's what I should have said. That's what they were saying.
Yeah.
Judy Henderson, Brett Goldstein, these are the top people that's in the game right now, the shows that you watch. And management, agents. Why do I want to have you on my roster? You get what I'm saying? All that type of stuff.
Right.
So she's amazing.
No,
and,
she is. And then to be so open, because this could be one of those industries where people don't want to share
It's tough.
what they know.
Oh,
and to have someone like Shorey Walker come in and say, this is what people need to know. And it's my gift back.
Absolutely.
So she was amazing. Great choice of a guest. She was amazing,
She's
T.
you. She's you. Gee, I love you.
I love you back.
Another
T.
show. Listen, another show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Next week, oh my goodness, Gee, you're gonna enjoy this one. We have a big one. We have a really big guest coming in next week. As you know, you and I spoke. Attorney James Sasso. He's one of the 6 attorneys who's dealing with the January 6th attack on the White House.
Yes.
So he's coming to our
Powerful.
show. Very powerful. He cannot speak until 2 days before our interview. So it's basically an exclusive. And we'll talk about that. So please tune in. Again, Jazzy Conversations. I'm Teef.
And I'm Gigi.
Have a good night, guys.
Take care.